February 18th, 2016. We're going to read the rest of Mark chapter 10. We will read the verse of the day, which is, "Dear friends, since God so loves us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us." That is John 4:11-12. Mark chapter 10, when Jesus predicts his death, this is 32, Mark chapter 10, verse 32 says, they were on their way up to Jerusalem with Jesus leading the way, and the disciples were astonished, while those who followed were afraid. Again, he took the 12 aside and told them what was going to happen. "We are going up to Jerusalem," he said, "and the Son of Man will be delivered over the chief priests and teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand over to the Gentiles, who will mock him and spit on him, flog him and kill him. 3 days later he will rise." Then James and John and the sons of Zebedee came to teacher. They said, "We want you to do for us whatever we ask." "What do you want me to do for you?" he asked. They replied, Let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in glory." "You don't know what you're asking," Jesus said. "Can you drink the cup I drink, or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with?" "We can answer," they said. "We can," they answered. Jesus said to them, "You will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those whom they have been prepared." When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Jesus called them together and said, "You know what those who are regarded as rulers of Gentiles lord it over them, and the high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." Then they came to Jericho, as the disciples, together with a large crowd, and were leaving the city. A blind man, Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Just stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped into his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. All right, that was the rest of Mark chapter 10. Our daily devotion is such a big sigh. There's a lot of things going on in my life right now, and just pray God takes control of them, because I can't figure it out. If you ever listen to an interview for a soldier awarded for the courage under fire, you often hear a fact that seems contradictory to the citation. The soldier was afraid. Most soldiers who have seen combat will admit this, but we've brought the myth that the soldier who fights courageously has no fear. It's not that they weren't afraid, they'll say. It's that something was more important than their fear. Love of the country, pride in their cause, the lives of fellow soldiers. Their courage was essentially a value judgment that the things that matter are the most important than letting fear run their lives. Does fear run your life? It is okay to be afraid, but you'll never live above and beyond if you're frozen in a place and prone to retreat. If you don't believe what matters is important than what scares you, is more important than what scares you. You'll never put fear in its place and charge forward to take the next hill. For God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. That is 2 Timothy 1:7. All right, thank you so much for listening, and we will continue with Mark chapter 11 tomorrow. Thank you. Be blessed.